The BWTM Cup of Success is now available. BWTM collection, you can on Google, and it'll be in the. It'll also be available on Google as well. So let me just get ourselves back in here and get ourselves going. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports Association of Frampton.com. Google loved the title so much, they decided to put an advertisement on before I even got to even start the video. Fantastic. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. Now, fight we're going to be talking about is Josh Warrington versus Carl Frampton. Josh Warrington, the champion, after an excellent performance against former champion Lee Selby and Carl Frampton. Before I start, I'll say that Carl Frampton is one of my favorite British fighters. Always liked Carl Frampton. I like the way he goes about his business. Great personality. Tells it like he sees it. And I've always liked him. I've liked the way he fights. Just like I like the guy generally. And I've never met him, young man. I'd love to get the opportunity to meet him. He's one of those guys I'd love to sit down and talk to. As one of those guys, I think I can sit down and talk to about most things for a long time. He just seems that type of guy. He seems the type of guy that if he went out of Carl Frampton, he'd be a cheeky chappy. He'd get into a whole heap of trouble, not in a nasty way, right? He'd get into a whole heap of trouble with girls, and he's a funny type of guy. I think he'd be a great laugh and a great guy to go out partying with and have a good night out with. That is the idea I got of Frampton. I like him. And then there's Josh Warrington. Josh Warrington, I have to say that I didn't think he was that good a boxer. I thought he was okay. And then he fought Lee Selby. And I expected Lee Selby to outbox Warrington. Well, I was wrong about that. And what we could have discovered there in Josh Warrington, not only he's able to adapt as a boxer and show a different style of boxing, but the other thing is, I think his dad's his trainer. And we might have there in his dad a very, very good trainer. Josh Warrington, he's might not be the biggest puncher in the world, but he's tremendously fit. Seems to have a good chin, very high work rate, and non-stop pressure. And he's an active fighter, a busy fighter. Carl Frampton, he's a guy for me that likes to fight off the back foot, likes to use lots of counters. Against higher level opposition, against low opposition, I think he gets onto the front foot and takes guys out. But he likes to throw shots off the back foot, mainly lean off the back foot. He does seem to dangle that left hand in front a lot. He did that under Shane McGuigan, and I always thought he was vulnerable to getting caught over the top of the right hand. Frampton, one of the things I noticed about Frampton in all his fights, or most of his fights, against the higher level opposition, he tends to tire. And I don't know if that was because he was struggling to make the weight in the lower weight division, but I'll tell you something now. I've been watching Frampton for years, but ever since the Santa Cruz fight, now the first Santa Cruz fight, I thought Santa Cruz, I warned people for the second Santa Cruz fight that Frampton needs to be careful. I said that the first Santa Cruz fight, Santa Cruz was distracted. I said the second Santa Cruz fight, he's going to get the real Santa Cruz. Frampton said he was one-dimensional in the first fight, and in the second fight we saw Santa Cruz was a different class, and Frampton was unable to adapt under Shane McGuigan, and he ended up looking very one-dimensional himself. But I don't know. Since the second Santa Cruz fight, I felt something's been missing in Carl Frampton. And I spoke to Rick Glazer. He's been in the sport over 20 years as an international matchmaker. And he said to me, Frampton's shot. And I thought, really? He said, yeah, he's shot. I'm like, he's a young man. He said, it doesn't matter. And I was like, really? But then Frampton's won fights recently, but he hasn't won fights to me that I've gone, wow, what a performance from Carl Frampton. Like back in the day, I was like, wow, that's a great performance. Like when he stopped Kiko Martinez, I was like, yeah, that's a performance. I didn't feel that way when he fought Donaire. Although Donaire is a good fighter, but again, Donaire he's past it as well. I mean, he is past it. And, you know, Donaire's come back recently and become world champion again, beating a guy in Ryan Burnett, a guy I've never rated personally, but there you go. So, as much as I say with this fight is that Frampton comes into the fight with most of the disadvantages: height, reach, weight. So he's the smaller guy coming into this fight. What he does have is world-class experience, fighting at a higher level more consistently. That's what he does have. And obviously he's changed his trainer again. He's a different trainer now. But I don't know if Frampton's the same fighter anymore. And moving up in weight, I just think, looking at his fight, in my opinion, I think Warrington's definitely going to be the fresher fighter. I said somewhere in the round table conversation, he said that he will die, or he's prepared to die to remain world champion. I mean, himself, well, come on, man, it's for a belt. I mean, you really don't want to put this sort of stuff out there. It's not cool. But anyway, I understand what he's trying to say. Warrington lacks. He's had one major big fight. I mean, against real top class operator, you know, in Lee Selby. Kiko Martinez fight. Actually, truth be told, I thought Kiko Martinez beat Warrington that night. I really did. So, you know, but then he put on a great performance against Lee Selby. Now this fight will tell me whether I think this is the right time for Warrington to fight Frampton, because I think Frampton's on the wane. If Frampton's not on the wane, and I got this wrong, Warrington could find himself in some problems. But I'm backing Warrington. I'm backing Warrington to win this fight. I just think down the stretch, Warrington may end up being the fitter fighter and maybe stronger fighter. And I think that's the reason why I'm going Warrington. And the fact that I think that Warrington will adapt his style. I don't think Frampton can adapt his style. I think Frampton fights the same way in all his fights. But I think Warrington can adapt his style. I've seen him fight off the front foot. I've seen him fight off the back foot. I've seen him move side to side. So I'm going to go Warrington this one. More adaptable, younger, fresher, taller, bigger, longer. Going with Warrington on this one. But having said that, Frampton is a wily old jackal, and anything's possible with Frampton. But I'm going to go with Warrington. I'm going to stick to my guns and go with Warrington on the factors that he's bigger, I think he's stronger, longer. And although he's not as experienced, he's done a 12-round already in Warrington. He's done a few fights, 12-rounder, fitter, and work rate is higher than Frampton. And I noticed when Frampton, if I'm Warrington and I'm looking at a fight, and to look at a fight where Frampton looked uncomfortable was against Scott Quigg. Not the first 6 rounds, the last 6 rounds, where Quigg tried to put the pressure on Frampton. I don't think Frampton responds well with his back against the ropes and you put pressure in. I don't think he fights well at that. Frampton's the type of guy you need to give him space and time to think so he can pick his shots and say, take that, and then step off and hit you with that shot, and then move off again. Frampton needs time to think. Warrington's got to be in his face. He can't afford to stand and box with Frampton. I think he's got to set a really, really high work rate, work Frampton. And if there's any weakness to Frampton, the body, I think you've got to go to Frampton's body. Frampton has shown weaknesses to the body before. He doesn't like body shots, Carl Frampton. And he's one of those fighters who lets you know he don't like body shots. So the body is a place where I think that Warrington should be attacking. As for Frampton's way to beat Warrington, his experience at the highest level. As Warrington's coming, try and pick him off, use the counter, stay off the back foot. Don't hang around on the ropes against Warrington, and use that aggression against him. So when Warrington comes rushing forward like a bull, sidestep and box, tie him up. But it'll be interesting. because I think Warrington's going to be, as I said, a taller, longer guy, physically stronger. There's a possibility he could bully Frampton in there, but I have to wait and see. Time will soon tell, but it's a great fight, though. Great piece of matchmaking. Let's see. I think Frampton wins on points, or maybe 7-5, says Adam Scott. Picked him to beat Selby, though, Warrington. If this was in a year or two, I'd pick Warrington, but I just think Carl has enough left. Okay. Do you think either will face Rigondeaux? If between the two of them, I think that Warrington would face Rigondeaux faster than Frampton. The last 6 rounds, when Joe Gallagher realised he was losing. Oh, well, yes, absolutely. So those are my thoughts on this fight. I'm going to put my head in, stick my neck out and say Josh Warrington in this one. But, you know, it's a good fight. It's a good fight. But I'm going to go with the fresher guy in this fight, the taller, longer, bigger guy, and the natural guy at the weight. Let me know what you all think. As always, again, don't forget to rate and subscribe and leave your comments. We're out of here. Take care.